Hi everyone! Happy 4-year anniversary! Yay! Okay, I will get to the Q&A later, but first, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, every single one of you, who have been supporting me thus far. Whether it be liking, subscribing, commenting, using my affiliate links, donations, or even just watching my videos. I'm truly grateful for all of you for being here. I can't believe it's already been a full 4 whole years since I started this channel. Thank you so much for your time in supporting me. I honestly don't know how to fully express my gratitude. I just never expected to make it to this point, but here we are, together! Alright, enough with the sappy stuff before I start crying. So let's get started with the Q&A. I posted both on my Instagram as well as here on YouTube on my community tab if you had any questions for me. So I'll be answering those questions today. I've tried to order these in a sensible way, so I do apologize in advance if the flow doesn't feel right for any one person. Fair warning, there's a good chunk of rambling in this video, so, just keep in mind. Okay, let's begin. First question is from LE, and I actually get this quite a lot. Why are you hiding? Well, I guess I never really officially explained this before, so I'm from Thailand. I have, those typical tiger Asian parents who doesn't believe in art for a living, and basically believes that hobbies or anything that doesn't make money isn't really worth spending time on. So that makes me feel like not emotionally safe to do any art around my family because I've done so before and there have been negative consequences. On this topic, people have also asked me what would happen if I did get found out, and I jokingly once replied that my art supplies would probably be like thrown in a fire pit or something, and it was a joke, but I feel like it's also plausible some way, Okay, that's a bit of a somber start. Let's get back to the more cheery stuff. Sandra Vink Art asked, why did you start your channel? Which idea did you have in mind? Alright, so there isn't one particular reason why I started this channel. I'll try to take you through my thought process at the time and hopefully you'll understand. So I posted my first video on January 29th, 2020, but I had been thinking about it for several months even before that, and one of the main reasons was that at the time, I felt like I wanted to paint more, but I wasn't being productive with my time. So like when I had free time to myself, I just watch TV shows and, just relax and things like that. But then I'd feel bad afterwards, like, oh man, I should have painted, like that type of feeling. So my number one reason was that I wanted to be more productive with my time. And so I told myself to post at least one video a week. Just, to keep myself accountable and sort of be like a diary or like a log to document my productivity in a way, which I'd say I succeeded with. Also, I had a few beginner's grade watercolors at the time, as well as a set of Sennelier and a set of Rembrandt, and I remember thinking that I couldn't find much info on those two brands, and in hindsight, I think I was just like searching using the wrong keywords, or maybe I was searching in Thai, like a different language, so maybe like, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't understand myself either. But yeah, I didn't really know what content to share. I just wanted to put content out there conveying that like, hey, I have these products. If you want to know something, ask me before buying. Which stands true to this day. Like, I know a lot of bigger art channels might not have the time to respond to viewers' questions, but I'm here. And I've tried my best to answer everyone's questions so far. I don't view this as a one-way thing, I give you info through like video format, but if you want more information, I think it's also on the viewer to comment and ask. So please always feel free to ask. Okay, I think I have more reasons, but I can't quite remember all of them right now, so that's basically the main two reasons why I started my channel, to be more productive with my time and to be a source for people to ask questions about products before spending their hard-earned money. Next, a question from Sonia. If you were only allowed to use 12 colors for a month, which ones would you choose and why? Great question, Sonia. So I'd say I'd probably just stick with my signature palette. I covered that in this video here, so please go watch that. I explained it in detail in that video. I'll link it below for ease of reference. I just think I'm comfortable with my signature palette, so yeah. Next, Angel Adi asked, do you get to talk about your channel with your loved ones? I don't. I think that's obvious from what I explained earlier. I wish I could, especially this past year where I personally feel like I've started to have some success in terms of being contacted by brands and, like being able to do collabs. And like sometimes I wish I could just go to my mom and be like, Mommy, look at how many subscribers I have, and like look at all these brands that contacted me and sent me stuff to review, like, aren't you proud, Mom? And I think if I were like still a kid or like, in my teens, my mom would like be proud because like she's a good mom. But, like I'm not a kid anymore, and with both my parents being like chronically ill, we have like lots of medical bills, and honestly, I really should have more jobs to bring in more money. And some of you might ask, like, why not just quit YouTube then? Well, the way I see it is that art is my therapy. It's basically what calms me and keeps me like sane amongst all the like fluctuations of life, I guess, So sure, I can quit YouTube. That would give me more time to like go work another job and make more money, but then I feel like eventually I'll have to pay for like a therapist or something. So I feel like if I can continue doing art, painting, coloring, whatever, and that keeps me from having a mental breakdown, then yeah, sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Am I even making sense? Okay, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, next, this question is from Box of Paint. What was your essential setup for watercolors then versus now? Brands of paper, paints, brushes, etc. Okay, so I'm not sure how far back we're talking. Like, I've always been doing some form of art since I was younger, but for the sake of this video, I think I'll just stick to like 4 or 5 years ago versus now. Is that okay? Okay, we'll just go with that. Okay, so 4 years ago, if you see from my earliest videos, I had used Sennelier, Rembrandt, Arteza, Pentel, things like that. But I actually got back into watercolor about a year before that point, I think. So I want to say maybe like 2018, 2019. And at that point, I had been using my Van Gogh set of 12, I think. Yeah, 12. I don't think you can buy the palette anymore, so yeah, I don't know if you would call it vintage either, but yeah, you can't buy it anymore, I think. I really like the design. I wish they brought it back, but the paint isn't as good as Van Gogh's current range, obviously, so they definitely reformulated it for the better. As for the paper, I just used what was cheap and locally available. Sekai Sketchbook and Canson Cellulose watercolor paper pads. Some of you might recognize them as I had featured those in my most used art supplies video, so I'll link that below as well. As for brushes, also mentioned in that same video again, I just used what I already had, which were these Renaissance brushes. They're just like, cheap nylon brushes, I believe, or like some sort of cheap synthetic. And then for my present day setup, my go-to palettes are my Roman Small palette if I want to use like large brushes that day, and my Magello palette for just like, anything, multi-purpose use. And my ceramic color wheel palette for experimental test paintings. I sometimes get asked where I got this palette, and it's by Meeden. I'll leave links to all these products below so you don't have to worry about that. And then for paper, I swap around a lot between paper blocks and sketchbooks. Mainly it depends on what I'm painting. If it's like loose florals and stuff like that, I'd either use paper blocks like Baohong or like from Meeden, as well as my Kadi book. Like I like 100% cotton paper for loose floral paintings or just loose watercolor paintings in general. And for brushes, I have a lot of rosemary brushes, which sometimes I could feel precious about, so I'm a bit reserved using them. So I've been using more and more of my Fumui set of brushes these past few months, and honestly, I really love them. So yeah, that's my current day setup. All right, next question from Gu Ying Chi. Do you use acrylics at all? No, I don't. Would you prefer acrylic gouache or traditional gouache? Well, since I don't use acrylic, so I don't know how to answer that. I guess I'll just answer traditional gouache. I do hope to get into more gouache this year, just as like a personal goal. I don't know if I'll show anything on the channel at this point because I feel like I need to get the hang of it, you know, before I'm able to show anything presentable. You know what I mean? Okay. And this next question from MB the One is along the same lines. Would you ever try other mediums like oils, graphite, etc.? Great question. Let me explain. So, firstly, not many people know this, but I actually started out oil painting. I lost a lot of artwork from moving homes, but I have one that I still have to this day, and I guess I'll insert a picture somewhere here. So I don't think I'll ever go back to oil painting again because, you know, like canvases are big and space consuming. And like I've thought about this before because I do like oil painting. So yes, I know I can paint on small size canvases, but what's the fun in that? I feel like oil painting you gotta like paint big. Also, oil paint takes forever to dry, right? I mean like I haven't really like looked into the newer, you know, formulas and options, but I feel like it's still takes a long time to dry, right? So yeah, not very ideal for me, at least from what I remember. Acrylic paint can also be a messy medium. If I had splatters everywhere, that would be hard to clean and hide. Graphite and pastels are quite powdery as well, so they're also messy and not really ideal for hiding. So for now, I feel like I'm comfortable with watercolors and like some colored pencils. Like I mentioned, I do want to get more into gouache, and I also have the Ohuhu alcohol markers that I desperately want to get more into, but like I when I accepted the collab, I didn't account for the fact that the marker caps would be so loud. Like I'll insert a clip here of how loud the marker caps are when I close them. Opening not so much, but like closing, it's loud. And especially with alcohol markers, you gotta cap them or they'll dry out. Anyway, if anyone has any suggestions for non-messy, quiet mediums, then feel free to comment below some suggestions. Like, I'm open to trying new mediums, I just have limitations with my situation, you know? Alright, okay, this next question is from E4 Alabasi. It would be interesting to compare your oldest art versus your new art. Again, how far back are we going? Okay, so here's my oil painting again from back around high school. And these ones are, honestly, I don't really remember, like maybe 2016 or so. And my current day art, I don't know. Do you think I've gotten better or worse at all? I feel like every time I took a break from art, I would have to like relearn everything somehow. Is anyone else like that? Like, I feel like I don't just get rusty, but I actually feel like I have to relearn everything to a certain extent or something. Yeah. But you know, like I'm not too worried about creating amazing, like realistic art or even like, you know, awe-inspiring art. Just, you know, I'm enjoying having fun as I go. And like I said, art is my therapy for now, at least. And next, Zoibu or Zoe asked, how does it feel to be making videos for 4 years? I'm not really sure. Like productive, I guess. I don't really know how to respond. I guess I just feel like I've done a good thing with my spare time. Then Sandra Vink Art again asked, are you surprised by the growth of your channel, or is it as you expected? Well, first of all, I didn't start my channel with any expectations of anything. Like I said, I mainly just wanted to be productive with my time and to share content. So I guess I'm continually surprised that people watch me at all. That said, for someone who has been consistently uploading for the past 4 years, I feel like the growth of my channel has been pretty consistently increasing as well. It's probably proportional in some way. I don't know, I'm not really into statistics. Anyway, I know there are other creators who hit like 10,000 subscribers within their first year, which I guess if that happened to me, then it would probably be more of a surprise, oh, super high jump and things like that. But like for me, I feel like I just slowly grew, proportionally to time, I guess. I hope that makes sense. And then I have a question here from Sivash Habibi from Instagram. Do you think there is substantial difference between high-end professional watercolor brands like Daniel Smith, M. Graham Schminke, and more budget-friendly brands like Shinhan, Magello, White Knights, or Paul Rubens? And if you paint different brands on the same type of paper, how different would the results be? Okay, so I need to address this first. I'm okay with the term budget friendly, but let's get rid of this phrase high-end professional. I feel like in this case you're referring to the price difference between different brands of artist grade watercolor. What's budget friendly for one person may be high-end expensive for another person. For example, Americans say Da Vinci is budget friendly when you buy the 37mm tubes, but no matter what, Da Vinci is expensive for me, and I feel like it will always be expensive for me. Whereas brands like Magellan and Holbein are more affordable for me than for the Western Hemisphere. And on that note, I will say no, there isn't a significant difference in the quality of the product between various artist-grade watercolor brands. I've tried many of the well-known brands out there, and there's still plenty I haven't tried, and even then I feel confident enough to say that no matter what brand or price point, as long as it's artist grade, just use what you have available or affordable to you. And as for your second question, generally speaking, no, there would not be any significant differences in the resulting painting between brands if used on the same type of paper. However, if you're using different colors or pigments that one brand has and another doesn't, then obviously there can be differences. Okay, everyone, before we continue, I want everyone to get up and do a little stretch and shake it off. Shake it off. All right, stretch and shake it off. Are you shaking your limbs with me? Anyone stretching? Okay, good. Okay, let's get back to it. Next question. Yes. Okay, so there's some overlap here. Everest Pencils and Chantel Arts asked what my filming setup is like. So I actually went through several setups, but currently I'm using these 3 products for filming. I usually only use one at a time. This one is just a regular phone stand that I use for close-up shots. Nothing new here. And then I have this tripod here that I don't use very often, but it's light enough for me to throw to the side when I need to quickly hide. And then this last one I use the most, mainly for overhead eagle eye shots, I bought this one from Shopee Thailand, but I think Amazon also sells the same product, so I'll leave a link below to that should anyone be interested. I like that it's rather small when collapsed, and when you pull it out, it's it becomes a phone stand thing, sort of, yeah. It also has lighting on both sides, but I don't really use the lighting because I prefer natural sunlight. And the main thing I like about it is that when I need to quickly hide, I fold it into this position and it looks like any other desk lamp. Can you see it? Can you feel like it's a desk lamp? I mean, I just leave this on my desk and no one knows. It's like hiding in plain sight. I just love it. And then the rest of Chantel Art's questions. What have you learned during your time here on YouTube? Okay, so I have learned that I really don't understand YouTube. Honestly, like the algorithm is ever changing. My most viewed video is my regrets video. That was like one of the videos that I spent the least amount of time on, but for videos that I sometimes spend a couple months on, only gets like a few hundred views. So yeah, I've basically learned that success on YouTube isn't just you, but it's dependent on everything else in between as well. Is there anything else you'd have done differently? Let's see. I think maybe two things that I could think of right off the bat is I feel like I should have gone with a different name, like the name of my channel. I probably should have gone with like a two-word, like a two simple proper nouns. Yeah, mine isn't good. Like instead of a verb, preposition, and noun combo, I should have just gone with like, hide art or something, Yeah, just two words. And the second thing I would have done differently is, well, some of you may remember this. I started out my channel being completely silent, no music, no ambient sounds, no nothing. And that was like for the first year and a half or so. And then I started using voice, which I feel like really picked up my channel. So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have like just skipped the silent phase and go straight to using voice, which I think a lot of people do. I just didn't because I felt like I needed to be silent. Moving on to the next question. Zoibu again, what is the thing you learned most from documenting your art journey? Well, I'd say I learned that I just need to do more in order to get better. Like, people have always said this, practice makes perfect, So obviously, I'm still far from perfect, but I've noticed within myself that if I don't paint or do some active thinking while painting, then I don't get better and my skills won't improve. And then I tell myself I'm a failure when like how could I be if I didn't even try? So yeah, I just need to paint more to get to where I want to be. And our next question comes from, and I'm gonna try to say this, Bleu vert et forêt de pin. What's your favorite video from your channel? Which type of videos you enjoy making the most? A top 5 or 10 of your favorite watercolor channel. Okay, so the top 5 and 10 part I will reserve for a dedicated video, as I think that's going to take a longer time, so I won't include that in this video, but I'll keep that for a future video, okay? Okay, so and for favorite video, oh no, I think I have too many favorites. Okay, does it have to be just one? Can I I'll just list a few, okay? Is that okay? We'll just list a few. Okay, so let's see. I'm scrolling through my channel here. Okay, so I really liked the live stream where I got to paint and chat with you guys, Like, I remember I didn't have to do much planning ahead. There was no editing and it was like interactive. I think it was only like 30 minutes, but I had so much fun, and especially like getting to talk to you guys, and yeah, it was just so much fun. And then, of course, the Kari Fatbook review. I know a few other people had mentioned it in passing before in their videos, but no one really had posted a dedicated review video on it. So I'm glad I was able to convey how special it was, and a lot of you actually got back to me letting me know that you bought it and absolutely loved it too. So that makes me happy knowing I was able to recommend a product that I love and that other people loved it too. And then some other ones that I enjoyed were Meaden's ceramic color wheel palette. Because it's so hard to find a 12-well ceramic palette, I just don't understand, like an actual color wheel 12-well, Because most of them are 10 spaces and 2 in the middle or something. And then my Magello collab video, because I just love Magello. So it was like, oh my goodness, one of the brands that I really love wants to collab with me. Oh, technically it's not the brand. It's like a representative from a shop. So I don't know. Nonetheless, I liked it. and Rembrandt because people needed to know the information. And then my 2024 no-buy worksheet video because I saved money. And I really wish people could successfully save some money too. Okay, so I think that was a bit rather speedy, and I do apologize, but if I went through everything in detail, I feel like we'd be here forever, so that's it for now. And as for which types of videos I enjoy making the most, I think it's probably the ones where I'm able to like highlight great products that maybe not many other people have talked about, or be some kind of inspiration to people. It's one thing to simply create content, but when that content proves to be useful in some way, I feel like I've done a good job with my platform. Does that make sense? Moving on to our next question from Flying Haggerties. If you had to choose one brand of watercolor to stick to for a year, what would it be? I guess I would have to choose Roman Small because every color I could think of that I want is in that brand. And it's only for a year, so it's okay. If it was for the rest of my life, however, I feel like I wouldn't have chosen Roman Small because I probably couldn't afford only Roman Small in the long term. So yeah, that's sort of my thinking process. So that question was a good segue to the next question by Lol Art. If you have to choose 5 art supplies you will use for the rest of your life, what will they be? Okay, so my thought process is that they have to be locally available as well as affordable. So, number 1 has to be Magella watercolors because they're basically the most affordable artist-grade watercolors to me here in Thailand that has a decent range of single pigment options. And also, I just love their vibrancy, you know? I know some people don't like Magello because of their vibrancy, but you know, we all have our preferences, right? And also, Magello, like the full range is also available open stock to me, so it's like easy to replenish, you know? Then for paper, I'd say probably Bao Home, because it's like, I think it's the cheapest 100% cotton paper around here, I believe. Yeah, I'd probably go with Bao Hong. And as for brushes, okay, so this one's pretty hard because the majority of my collection is rosemary, but I don't know. Okay, so brushes last a lifetime, and if all my rosemary brushes last a lifetime, I would probably use them. But if anything broke and I had to replenish, then I think my answer would have to be that I choose my set of Fumui brushes because I feel like for the price and the quality, it's just great value. It rivals like other big brand brushes for like a fraction of the price, and I could easily replenish with that price range. Okay, so I have 2 supplies left. So pencils. I definitely need colored pencils, so maybe Prismacolor. They're not affordable here, but well, I think a set of colored pencils. How about that? I won't label the brand just yet. But yeah, if for now, my Prismacolors, I really like them. And last but not least, my light colored crayons. I've posted a video before showing how I use them, so I won't cover that here because we'd just be here forever. Okay, I think that's all 5. Great. All right, down to the last 3 questions. From Durwood206, top 4 colors, watercolor brands, contemporary artists, etc. Okay, great questions. I guess I'm going to have to reserve the top 4 watercolor brands for later, as I have a video already planned for ranking watercolor brands, so I think that'll just be like a different video on its own. As for top 4 colors, let's see. I feel like this changes periodically, but like right now, I'd say my top 4 colors would have to be Magello's Yellow Ochre Light made with PBR 24. I know it's not easy to come by. I think Amazon has it. And then Roman Small's Ginger Red PR 290. I find that this is just a very nice brick earth red color that really mimics like the red stones used in Thai architecture. And the third color is Shinhan's Cerulean Blue PB35 because I recently got this one. And last but not least is Roman Schmal's Urban Gray. As for artists, I feel like I don't really follow or remember people like that. But you know what? How about this? I'll take note of this and notice which artists I gravitate towards, and maybe I'll do a video on this topic later. Is that alright? Okay. Alright, second to the last question from Zhu Huan Art. Would you consider doing art full-time in the future and come out of hiding? Okay. I feel like the question sort of implies that I'm hiding out of choice, but I feel like, personally, I feel like it's not a choice, like I have to hide, but in a perfect world, of course, I want to not need to hide, and if doing art can pay the bills and support my livelihood, then of course I'd want to do that. But, realistically, we have to be realistic, and I don't think I'll ever get to that point fast enough. Like, sure, people see my channel and might think I'm just another girl doing art on YouTube, but in reality, the fact that I have to hide is like, it's a constant force that's a big hindrance I have to deal with when I'm painting, when I'm sketching, when I'm filming. And like, even when I get packages of art supplies, like I'm always aware that I try to be, I wouldn't say like away from people, like, but at least like not seen. So I don't want to say I have anxiety, but it definitely keeps me anxious. And I feel like as long as I have to create art in hiding, I can't really like unlock my full potential. Does that make sense? Because my one main thing is that I have to be able to relax to some extent in order to do any type of art. Like, I don't even have a proper studio or dedicated space for my art stuff because all my supplies have to be hidden at all times. So when I see others do studio tours and whatnot, sometimes I cry. And like, you guys don't know how good you have it. I mean, I'm aware there may be people in worse situations than myself. But yeah, I mean, like, I can have feelings too, right? Okay, let's get to the last question. And I saved the best for last. From Miranda Watson Art. Hi, Miranda. I'm sure a lot of you know her already. Do you think there would be a time in the future that you would show yourself on camera? Okay, so at the moment, I don't have any plans to show myself on camera, but I like to say never because I mean, like, I actually started YouTube telling myself I wouldn't ever speak, like I wouldn't ever add music, no audio, things like that. But then I started adding voice about 2 years in, I think, and music is something more recent I've been experimenting with. So no plans on showing myself just yet, but never say never. All right, and that's the last of the questions. I hope I answered everyone's questions in detail enough and that maybe you've gotten to know me a bit more from this video. It's definitely been a really long video today, so if you've made it this far, thank you so much, of course, as always. I'm grateful for all the time you've spent with me, and I'd love for you to comment "the end" to let me know you made it to the end. And before we part from one another, I just wanted to put it out there again because some people might not yet know the different methods to support this channel. So the newest one is I am now accepting Amazon e-gift cards as a form of supporting this channel. It doesn't have to be $5, $10, or $20. You can input your own amount, so even just $1 works as well. And the best part is that it can totally be anonymous. And then I've put my Amazon wish list here, but honestly, I prefer gift cards because then I can track when a package will arrive. And like I said earlier, I'm aware when packages arrive, And then the usual affiliate links at Jackson's Art, Rosemary&Co, and Meeden. For Fumui, it's a code rather than a link. That's it for methods of support. And that's the end of this video. Thank you for listening to me blabber on and on and on. Oh, but one very last thing. I noticed this time there were some YouTube or channel specific questions rather than art related. So I was wondering if you would be interested in me doing another Q&A video, but specifically YouTube related stuff, you know? So yeah, I think I'll post a community tab about that. If anyone has YouTube specific questions, please comment your question under that community post, so it'll be easier for me to find and group together. And if there's enough interest, then I'll make another video on that topic, specifically on that topic. Alright, as always, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to drink lots of water and stay hydrated. Oh, okay, so I promise this is the one very, very last thing. So I actually had this question before. It wasn't the questions in this round, but I remember like a few people asking me this question of why I end my videos with drink lots of water and stay hydrated. And that's because I work in healthcare, and because I'm in Thailand, I see a lot of dehydration cases. And I'm not sure if that's because of the heat. A lot of people do come in because of heat stroke. But yeah, there's also lots and lots of other cases where they could have been prevented if people were just like hydrate themselves fully, and we're always forgetting to drink water. So if I can help you drink more water and stay hydrated, that's all I want, okay? Okay, that's it for real now. Bye, everyone!